Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about balance and time budgeting and organization so you have peace within. This PowerPoint here, the slide that's up right now, the picture I found off of Pinterest, and I thought it was very fitting for this presentation. It reads, "Time flies, but you are the pilot." And we are very busy, no doubt about it, that we tend to overbook our days. But remember that those things that you pack into the day, most of them you've chosen to do or chosen to add to your tasks yourself. So remember that in the end, you're the pilot and you can make the adjustments where needed. And we're going to talk about this and many other issues or ideas, I guess I should say, tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about time management, and the definition in the Business Dictionary is that it's systematic, priority-based structuring of your time allocation and your distribution of your time among your competing demands. And since time cannot be stored and its availability can't be increased or decreased from the 24 hours, then really the term time budgeting is said to be the more appropriate one. And I agree with that. We should think of time budgeting more than time management. Priorities. This definition comes from the Google Dictionary, and it reads, "A thing that is regarded as more important than another. The fact or condition of being regarded as or as treated as more important." And the last word that's going to fit into our theme tonight is balance. And this comes from the Oxford Dictionary. And it reads, "A situation in which different elements are equal or in the correct proportions." So we want to make sure that in the end we're balanced, because if we are not happy and leading a balanced lifestyle, then all we are doing is we're role modeling to our children an unbalanced life and to the families that we serve an unbalanced life. And if we're unbalanced, we're probably unhappy. And if we're unhappy, then that leads to unhappy families. And, it just trickles on down from there. So we really need to focus on how to balance everything that we want to get done and what we need to get done and should get done from those things that maybe can be wait, those that maybe can get delegated, or maybe it's just not important at this time and we just have to pass them up. Also, thinking about the word no. So we'll touch on a lot of this tonight. So today's goals in the session, you're going to be provided with some useful tools that will help us busy people be more effective with our time. Why? Because I think we all struggle with getting everything done, and sometimes we end up creating habits or we don't create habits that allow us to focus on the highest priorities in our list of to-dos. So how will we do this? We'll explore best practices and apply the use of the SBT Matrix, which stands for Skill, Value, Time, the Pareto Principle, and the Cubby Matrix. And these tools will help us tackle our tasks, prioritize them, and it will also teach us how to empower others to help us create more healthier and productive leaders. Because, we want to teach the future generations and for those that we are leading that they can do it as well. That we are not the only superwoman out there. So, 10 common time management mistakes. Okay? To-dos. The trick with using to-do lists effectively lies in prioritizing those tasks on your to-do list and breaking down larger projects into more manageable tasks. We'll talk a lot about this. Goals. Personal goal setting is essential to managing your time well because goals give you a destination and a vision to work towards. When you know where you want to go, you can manage your priorities, time, and your resources to get it and to get that goal. Goals also help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what may be just a distraction. Prioritizing. Without this, all the fun things get done and the heavy hitters get left to the end, causing us undue stress. I'm not saying we can't have fun. We just got to balance it. Distractions. Don't attempt projects when those distractions may be at the height of the day, or share with your family or those distractions that may be happening that you need uninterrupted time. Set a timer for your project, and then everyone will know when your time is up to finish the project, and then they can have your attention again. Turn off your email downloads so you're not distracted by those incoming messages. Procrastination. When you procrastinate, you feel guilty that you haven't started. You come to dread doing the task, and eventually everything catches up with you when you fail to complete the work on time. For instance, one useful strategy is to tell yourself that you're only going to start on the project for 10 minutes. Often procrastinators feel that they have to complete a task from start to finish, and this high expectation makes them feel overwhelmed and anxious. Instead, focus on devoting a small amount of time to starting. That's all. Taking on too much. This can lead to poor performance, stress, and low morale. So, maybe how can we work to avoid that? Thriving on busy. Sometimes the problem is that an addiction to busyness rarely means that you're effective, and it leads to stress. Instead, try to slow down and learn to manage or budget your time better. Multitasking. This is my downfall. It can take 20 to 40% more time to finish a list of jobs when you multitask, compared with completing the same list of tasks in sequence. The result, too, is that both tasks are carried out poorly. Not making time for you. You need to make sure you give your brain some time to rest and recharge. Schedule in breaks. Set a timer as a reminder for you that it's time for a break, but at least shoot for maybe 5 minutes every hour or so. Also, if you're all work and no play, you have nothing to look forward to, which drags out the project even more. Lack of a schedule. Are you a morning person, or do you hit your peak right after lunch? Make the best use of your time by scheduling high-value work during your peak time and lower-energy work, like maybe returning phone calls or checking email, during those downtimes when you're at your lowest energy point. I love this. This seems to be the story of my life, the theme of what was I doing again? And so you can see for this picture, the king is looking to his assistant and asking, okay, so what am I doing here? Am I knighting, beheading, or what? It's like when you go to the store and you don't buy the item that you originally were going to buy because you forgot. Have you ever shown up to an appointment too late or too early, or maybe not even at all? And this includes conference calls. You were working on progress notes and realized the printer was out of paper. You fill the paper, and then you just received an email, you check your email, and then it's time to make dinner, and those progress notes never get done. Maybe you open an email and start to read it, and you're thinking of how to respond. Maybe your child comes to ask you for help, or you get interrupted by a text. You go and take care of that. More emails come in, the email gets buried, and then it gets unanswered. How do we work this in? So I'm going to give you some suggestions. One suggestion that came through during my research was the envelope system. And essentially what you want to do is keep envelopes for different time frames. And so you mark an envelope with 30 minutes, maybe an envelope with 10 minutes, an envelope with an hour. And then whatever tasks you have to do, maybe this week or, maybe you want to do this daily, you can choose how this would work for you. And maybe this won't work at all, but it's an idea. You put that task, write it down on a piece of paper, and then stick it in the appropriate envelope for the amount of time that it should take. So maybe write a thank you note. Okay, writing a thank you note no longer than 10 minutes between finding the card or, setting up something to send that message, writing the message, and getting it out. So stick it in there. And so if you're doing your work and you have a break or you have some extra time in during the day, you can go to those envelopes and say, okay, I have 30 minutes of time. Let me grab the 30-minute envelope and see what's in there that I can get done. Keep in mind that most of our projects usually end up taking double the amount of time than what we typically think. So the good news is if you schedule additional time than what it actually you think it might take to complete it, you have a choice that you can use that time to accomplish an additional task or give yourself a perk. You thought it was going to take 30 minutes, it only took 20, save an extra 10 minutes. What can I do? I can either do something else in 10 minutes or your perk. Have a snack. Pick, paint your nails. Pick a reward from a reward jar. You get the picture. But remember, by adding too much or padding too much time to your tasks, it might expand your workload or the time it would take to get your work done, and then causing a smaller amount of tasks to get completed overall. This is another great tool that I thought was great for the family. Essentially, this woman had a binder, and each of these tabs in her binder were for different categories. A week at a glance, a year at a glance. There was a tab for shopping for, current projects, future projects, birthdays. So she had a tab just where she kept it, birthday information, and then a tab for miscellaneous information. And within each tab, you can put a Post-it for you to go to, so you can jot down quick notes and then just transfer it to that section later. You can use it to organize your to-dos. For example, maybe having a Post-it for each day, Post-it for each family member, a Post-it for each store. For instance, this picture here, she has 4 different stores, Target, Costco, so forth. And whatever items she has to get at Target, she writes on the Target Post-it. And then when she gets to Target, she peels off the Target Post-it and walks into the store. I mean, how cool is that? And if you're doing a Post-it for each team member, for each family member, then they can quickly grab their thing. They know what you want them to get done, and you're not having to repeat yourself 5 times. Another thing that I would recommend is assigning how long that item should take you to do. So if you're making a to-do list, next to that item, quickly jot down how much time you think you'll need to do that. This will help you stay on task and also quickly determine if it will get finished in the time that you actually have left. So lots of great ideas. I got this information and the picture from the blog that is listed at the bottom. So you can take a look at that and see if there's any other information there that maybe I missed. Procrastination. We're going to talk about 6 different ways to break the bad habit of procrastination. So the first one is setting aside enough time. By structuring a time frame for the task it takes, it makes it seem less daunting. And again, if a project is going to take you 3 hours, nobody says you have to do that 3 hours today unless maybe it's due tomorrow or whatnot, but break it up into smaller chunks. Or maybe do a half hour now, an hour later, and then, it doesn't seem as difficult. Working at your peak time. I already mentioned this, but it's worth mentioning again. What time of day do you feel your best? Don't tackle a large project when you're ready for a nap. Creating bite-sized chunks. Take those large overbearing tasks and break them down into mini to-dos. For instance, outreach. Maybe you're overwhelmed by making the contact with those that you want to do outreach to, preparing the presentation, and following through. So just put a date on your calendar that you're going to make 1 or 2 calls, and do them when that date happens. If you schedule a presentation, then the next step would be to prepare your materials for it. Gathering your giveaways, gathering your brochures, your mailing list, sign-up sheet, and so forth. When you go to prepare those materials for that presentation, make 3 sets. This way, when you're ready to go to that next presentation that you get scheduled, you have everything ready. So all you had to do was just make the call and then go. If you get nowhere with the calls, then set a date to mail a letter. And in that letter, have a date and time that you're going to call them next. And then on that date and time, follow through and contact them. Getting expert advice. If you are at a standstill, ask someone else for help. Maybe you just need an at-a-girl. And if you do, that's fine. Call me. Talk to one of your fellow parent guides. But don't be afraid to say, listen, I need a pick-me-up. Or, you know what, I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. Okay? I'll be more disappointed if you don't ask for the help than if you just try to pretend like you're not supposed to do it at all, or you did it, or any of those other options. Stop when you say you will. If you schedule a task for 30 minutes, then stop when your 30 minutes are up. If you abuse your time system, then you lose out on those fun activities or rewards that you may have planned. Because as moms, we know that we're always the first to go. We're always the first to give up, you know, those extra couple French fries that we have because our kids want them, or to share our cookie, or to not go and get our nails done because, you know, Susie needs to go to soccer practice. We are always giving pieces of ourselves away. And if we continue to do that, then there'll be nothing left of us. Point number 6, choosing to make your life easy. When you tackle these bad habits, you are able to reduce the stress and to see that your tasks are more manageable instead of seeing yourself as a failure before you have even begun. That's a very strong, powerful statement. When we are stressed out and we are not managing or budgeting our time well, and our tasks get pushed on to the next day and the next day, we feel like failures, even though we have just over-budgeted our time and we just haven't learned to say no. So, learn how to break these bad habits, and you'll get through it. To delegate or to not delegate. You know, for instance, in this slide here, it shows the gentleman who is asking his assistant to do his sandwich for him. Obviously, this would probably not be the best time to delegate a task. Even though it might help with the weight loss, in the end, it will not give us the energy that we need to get and carry through our day. One of the things that I have heard while I was preparing for this presentation was the phrase, you have to let go of the good stuff to get to the best stuff. All of our tasks are important, but through prioritizing and delegating, we can save our energy for the best stuff on our to-do list. For instance, Andrea and I are really trying this while we are preparing for the walk. It's difficult sometimes for us, especially with our personalities, to give up control for some things. But if we're overwhelmed and overworked, it may never get done. I know there may not be a lot of your family that can help you, but maybe they can seal envelopes and put postage on them, or count brochure bundles and rubber band them for you. Or if you have an appointment tomorrow and you need to look up the address and MapQuest it, they can do that for you. All these small tasks will add up to a few extra minutes within your day, and it makes them feel like important because you're including them, and that's something that's important to you that they can do for you. Also, you may choose not to delegate your guide-by-your-side to-dos, but, you know, maybe there's things around the house that you can delegate and have them help out with. Command centers. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know if you have a command center or not. I currently do not, but I'm definitely looking for a spot to do one. But basically, it's for everyone to know what's going to happen, what's next. Hopefully, if you have something like this set up, it will allow you to have more clear, concise information sharing with your family and less questioning by your family of what's coming next. It helps.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
Yes, it is. It helps your kids remember your schedule, your husband or significant other. The item is that you delegate. They'll know what they're supposed to do. And it also kind of just ends up feeling like there's less chaos because everything's managed and you know what's going to happen. So these are just a few of the ideas that I found when I was looking on Pinterest. As you can see, there's a couple different ideas. The first one here is just a little file folder system. It's a box with hanging file folders, and each file folder is labeled for a different member of their family. And then on the front is the calendar, and so you can jot down what's happening, whatever appointments you have coming up, and then your family. If your son knows that he has a band recital happening, he can jot down that date, and so it's not something that he forgets to tell you. The second middle picture here is a a chalkboard wall, and there's a task for each of the children, and then above it are their place to hang their bags or their backpacks. There's many versions of that out there. And then the last one is kids and number of their chores, and they've got a column of the to-dos, and they've got a column when it's done. They just move the magnet over, and there's, more options to that again. But just some ideas, and we might not all have kids at home and young enough or old enough to do chores. Again, they're just ideas. All right, so the SBT Matrix, which stands for Skill, Value, Time. Most small business owners can't find enough time or hours in the day to get everything that needs to be done. We know we should be delegating, but which things do we delegate and who? So to help decide what to delegate, this SBT Matrix was developed. It helps evaluate the tasks according to how much skill is needed to complete it. So can my 5-year-old do it? Can the husband do it? What level is this? How much value does it provide? If I complete this task, what kind of impact will it make overall on my family, job, or life? And how much time will they take? Is this a quick get-them-done kind of task, or are you creating a PowerPoint that maybe will take you 4 to 5 hours? So we're going to rate a task and decide then how it falls into our daily to-do list. So if the skill is low, you would mark it 1. If the skill is high, you mark it 5. The same thing for the value. And then what you're going to do is you're going to add those two numbers together and determine whether or not it delegates. So if you have a 5 and a 5, the highest value anything would get would be a 10. So with the highest value being 10, maybe you want to set your threshold at 8. So anything 8 and below can be delegated. And anything, or maybe below 8 would be delegated, and anything 8 and above be something that you would attempt. And again, it's your threshold, so you can change it. So, for example, calling potential donors. The skill is a 2 because, you're just making a call. Not that I can say my 5-year-old can make that call for me, but other adult-wise, so maybe maybe in your mind the skill is maybe a 3. It's really up to you. The value, however, is a 4 because I'm potentially getting somebody to donate something to our organization. So 2 plus 4 is 6. That threshold's 8. This item can be delegated. Let's see here. So this little comic strip here, it says, the doctor says to the patient who's all scarred and bandaged up and on a crutch and everything else, and he says, I have your lab results on my tablet. Just let me finish this game first. Sometimes we don't prioritize quite well, or, one thing gathers our attention and keeps it there before we get to the things that really should require attention. So I hope everyone keeps this in perspective, that we all deserve a little downtime, but sometimes these mommy moments may end up being distractors or time suckers for us. One thing that I do is I set a kitchen timer to help me move on from a current task. So this is an auditory clue for me and my family that we need to get going. So when my time's up and doing that task, it'll beep, and everyone knows that, okay, we're moving on to the next thing. Or, uh-oh, it's time to get out the door now. I better get my shoes on. The Horatio principle. When you make a to-do list, you're going to prioritize each item by the amount of effort acquired and the potential positive results. So for effort, you scale it 1 to 10, with 1 being the least amount of effort and 10 being the most, and the potential positive results, 1 being the lowest impact and 10 being the highest. And you're going to create a rating. And then you would do the items with the highest rating first. For an example, filling out a timesheet. Okay, it doesn't take a lot of effort to fill out the timesheet, so I'm going to rate that as a 1. The result is 8 because I'm going to get paid. Woohoo! So 8 divided by 1 is a priority 8. Working on progress notes. This is going to take a little bit more time because I wasn't really organized and I didn't keep good notes. So I kind of have to go back and think about and write some stuff down. So that's 4. But the result 8, I need to get it done because it's time and they're due. So 8 divided by 4 is priority 2. And calling a guy by your side family. The effort is 1. Again, doesn't take a lot of time. But the result is 10. The family needs me to return their call today. So 10 divided by 1 is priority 10. So if you look at these tasks, you have a priority 10, a priority 8, and a priority 2. So you would end up doing task 3 first because it's a priority 10. And task 2 last because it's a priority 2. This method ensures that 20% of your effort that really makes a difference, that always gets done first. And sometimes those other things that maybe don't matter or, could get postponed, they could. Okay? But sometimes we can't, we can't put them off forever. Some things we can. And that's one thing to look at. Again, these are all tools. And you can decide which ones fit for your lifestyle and which ones you like. Maybe you'll pick a little bit out of each. Again, they're just tools for you to consider. So, how good is your time management? Time management is an essential skill. It helps us keep our work under control, and at the same time, it helps to keep stress to a minimum. We would all love to have an extra couple hours in the day. Seeing as that's impossible, we need to work smarter on things that have our highest priority, and then create a schedule that reflects our work and personal priorities. With this in place, we can work in a focused and effective way and really start achieving those goals, dreams, and ambitions we care so much about. So at the bottom here is a website. You can go and complete a time management quiz to see where you need help and the tools that are available to help in those areas. It'll evaluate what you do right, where you need help, and you might not even know where you struggled, but this will definitely clue you in, and it'll give you those tools, like I said, to enhance and balance what you're doing. So I will send these links out once the recording is complete. Pinterest. I don't know how many of you utilize Pinterest. It is one thing that I find very valuable. It could be a time suck, but if you just dedicate a few minutes each day, and once you get the hang of it, you can really find some things that really do balance out your day or do improve how you do things so that you are spending less time sometimes in the day-to-day things. I know I've learned a lot of cleaning tips that have dramatically saved my time. And so talking about planning out things, there are some menu planners, weekly planners. Again, if we're putting down to-dos, we know what's next. There's no surprise. We know what tomorrow holds. It's not going to surprise us or put us in a bad mood first thing the next day when we wake up because we realize we didn't complete a project. So if you find it hard knowing where to start, I find that getting it down on the paper is the best place. So the link here at the bottom is free, allows you to print out these planners free, and maybe they'll help you get going. Urgency and importance. So here the package is marked urgent, open at once, hurry, and then the gentleman says, just send it the cheapest way. So it wouldn't be on our to-do list, right, if it wasn't something that needed our attention. However, just because it's on our list of things to get done doesn't mean that you're the one that has to complete it or that it needs your attention right now. So how do we figure out what comes first? So that brings us to the Cubby Matrix. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Stephen Covey, or maybe you have heard of the Cubby Matrix. Maybe you're already utilizing it. Last week I emailed out a quote that was part of the National Hands of Voices email that I forwarded on to you, and it read, "It is easy to develop a list of 15 to 20 priorities. But I would argue that this is the same as having no priorities. Human beings typically can perform at a high level only if they focus their efforts, and the greater the number of priorities you have, the harder it becomes to focus." Utilizing a tool like the Cubby Matrix can help you focus your priorities and reduce the amount of tasks that are urgent from those that can wait. So, the Cubby Matrix you see on the next slide is a 4-quadrant box that helps us step back and think about these activities as far as how urgent are they and how important are they. And they will help us hopefully make better decisions about using our time. So here's what the Cubby Matrix looks like. In the quadrant 1, which is the top left, we have important urgent items. Items that need to be dealt with immediately, such as family emergencies, hard deadlines for important projects. In quadrant 2, the top right, we have important but not urgent items. Items that are important to do but don't require immediate attention and need to be maybe planned for. This quadrant is highlighted because Cubby emphasized this is a quadrant that we should focus on for long-term achievement of goals. For instance, maybe you're going to run a marathon. Okay, that's important to you. It's important to your health. But it's not urgent. The marathon's not happening tomorrow. So that would fall into that. So you need to prepare for that marathon and plan and train over time. In quadrant 3, the bottom left, we have urgent but unimportant items. Items that maybe should be minimized or eliminated. These are the time sucks or the poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part kind of task. Phone calls that may be off topic. Emails that you have to reply to right away or it might lose its value. For instance, where's my sock? You know, if you don't reply to that email right away, maybe your son might, go to school barefoot. So thinking of like in that manner. In quadrant 4, which is the bottom right, we have unimportant and also not urgent items. Items that don't have to be done anytime soon, maybe add little or no value, and maybe they should also be minimized or eliminated. These are often trivial time wasters, such as mindless web browsing, television and channel surfing, just for the sake of it, reading your random RSS feeds, no matter how fast you read them, and junk, low-value email. So this slide here shows 2 pirates, and the one pirate here has a hook in his arm and a peg leg, and he says, "I've put a lot of myself into this business." What happens when you've given your left leg and your right arm to achieve your commitments? If we continue to give pieces of ourselves away, all we will achieve is an unbalanced and grumpy lifestyle. You need to pour back into yourself what you have given away. One of the things that we heard reinforced at the National Hands and Voices Leadership Conference was that you have to help yourself before you help others. And so think of this when you're on the airplane and they say, they're giving you the lesson, you have to put the air mask on yourself before you help anyone else. This means that you can't forget to make time for yourself. Find things that recharge you. That may even be a reward for a job well done. Just like we might encourage our kids with sticker charts, we need to have something to keep us going and focused. Exercise and yoga are a great way to give our lives balance and commit time to us. It also promotes a healthy lifestyle. It's great for our kids to see, and it gives us energy to keep going. Speaking of yoga, we're going to have an introductory lesson on our first day of training. So please make sure that you're wearing comfortable, loose clothing on Friday and come with an open mind. Another thing that will help you, hopefully, is that I'll be providing you at training with an 11.5 by 11.5 dry erase magnetic board. This is a blank board, and you choose how to implement it. So off to the left here on the screen, it's just a blank board. I'm going to have different colors. It comes with 2 magnets. It comes with a dry erase marker as well. Now, I've given you a couple suggestions here, maybe how you might want to implement your board. The top right one is I separated mine by the 7 days a week, and then I have a double spot. So there's 7 spaces, like 3 by 3 spaces or something close to that for the days of the week, and then there's one larger, like 3 by 6 spot that's marked future. And so anything that I don't have to get done that week, but I don't want to forget to do it, I'll put it in the future. Okay? And then, again, don't forget, next to that task, to list how much time it would take for you to get it done so you stay on track. I write mine on Post-it notes and stick it on the board, so this way I don't have to worry about erasing dry erase stuff or whatever, and I get the satisfaction when I'm done, I can crumple up that Post-it note and toss it in the garbage. The bottom board, I implemented the Cubby Matrix. Again, the board is to decide what you want to do with. Once you make a decision, you can always draw your lines with permanent marker so they will keep if you do a dry erase and erase notes, or if your kids get their hands on it, and decide that it's really funny to erase mommy's lines, you won't have that happen. You'll pull the trick over them. So, some final tips. That first hour of the day, do not spend it checking email. Instead, save that energy-filled hour for your most important task. Dress to impress. Most of us work from home, which is great, but if we're not dressed for work, then our family thinks that it's just a regular day at home. So if you're dressed for work, it helps your family have a visual clue what you have scheduled for that day, and it helps you feel ready to work. Let's face it, if we're in our comfy sweats and, lounge pants, sometimes we get too comfy, and then we don't have the correct mindset for the day. Don't waste time by multitasking. Focus on one thing. Schedule it. By scheduling, you're able to keep focused and see what exactly you have to accomplish. At the same time, don't answer personal phone while you're at your work, okay, or during your work time. If that time is allotted for a task, then stick to it. By creating a timeline or plan for the day, you are able to make sure that no task gets left behind, and you also remember to schedule in the fun. PEP, P-E-P, physical health, escapes, and people. By carving time out for yourself, it will fuel you and not only keep going, but, you'll be able to do so with a positive attitude. So remember to schedule physical health, an escape, and people. Make time for those friends. to-dos. Create a list and keep them all in one place. Again, chasing sticky notes around the house, it just wastes time. So get them somewhere all in one spot. Boundaries. Boundaries equal balance. Happy moms are able to effectively serve their families and their additional responsibilities when we set boundaries and we have balance. Family time. Yeah, there's time for that too. If you're fully invested and focused when it's family time, they will understand that work time is work time and family time is family time. Giving yourself 100% to each job gives quality time and performance. So both for everything that you have to do. Tomorrow. At the end of the day, take a moment to look ahead at tomorrow's schedule so nothing throws you for a loop and you can start the day on the right foot. All right, any questions?
No questions from me. I think I followed you quite well.
Great. Let's go ahead to the post-test questions then.
Well, one thing I think I do have a question about is the RSS feeds.
Oh, the RSS feeds. On your phone and on the internet, RSS feeds are like if you subscribe to RSS feeds for different things. For instance, the Illinois Hands and Voices website. If you subscribe to their RSS feeds, that means that any messages that are posted on the Illinois Hands and Voices website will automatically get sent to you. And so different websites and different, I'm trying to think, like Yahoo, Entertainment Tonight, they might have things where you can select if there's any breaking news or important announcements that they'll get emailed to you. And so you can be kept in the know and kept in the loop. And sometimes we just get distracted by those because, our phone or our email's constantly going off with really these small details of the whole scheme of things.
Thank you. I understand that. Yeah, I had wondered
No
what
problem.
that was.
All right, question 1. The definition of priorities is a thing that is regarded as more important than another. True or false?
True. You want me to speak it, or should I just text it to you?
You chat it in the box to me, please.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. Question 2. The SBT Matrix stands for A, Schedule Variety Timer, B, Skills Value Time, C, Sort View Think. Question 3. A common time management mistake is to not take enough breaks. True or false? Question 4. What can help you break the bad habit of procrastination? Setting aside enough time, working during your peak time, getting expert guidance, stopping when you say you will, or E, all of the above. Number 5. The ratio principle looks at A, the amount of money we will achieve by finishing a task, B, how to prioritize our projects, C, the amount of effort needed to finish a project and the potential results from completing it, D, all of the above, or E, answers B and C only. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.